All right, let's go through one example together step by step, and then of course you can always look at more examples in the linked videos below. We're going to start with a problem. Sketch a graph of y equals negative 2x squared minus 4x plus 6. All right. The first thing I want to point out, this is going to be a parabola that opens downwards because we have a negative leading coefficient. So we're going to have a parabola that opens downwards. All right, we're going to start with the vertex, since that's the new thing. Remember that the formula for the x-coordinate of the vertex is the opposite of b over 2a. In this case, b is negative 4, so the opposite of negative 4 gives us positive 4 over 2 times a. In this case, a is negative 2. So we end up with 4 over negative 4, and 4 divided by negative 4 is negative 1. So the vertex has an x-coordinate of negative 1. To find the y-coordinate, we have to plug negative 1 in for x. So we've got negative 2 times x squared. In this case, that'll be negative 1 squared, minus 4 times x, which is negative 1, plus 6. Now, negative 1 squared is positive 1, and negative 2 times positive 1 is negative 2. So we've got negative 2, and then it's going to become plus 4, because a negative times a negative is a positive, and then plus 6. And negative 2 plus 4 plus 6 is 8. So our vertex is going to be the point negative 1, 8, because x is negative 1 and y is 8. So let's get an xy plane, and let's plot that vertex. All right, we've got negative 1, 8, so that's to the left 1, and then up 8. Our vertex is going to be right about there. Nice. Let's move on to the intercepts. The y-intercept is easiest. Remember, the y-intercept always just comes from the constant term. In this case, that is 6. So our y-intercept is 6. Okay. Next, we can figure out the x-intercepts. And remember, those come from setting y equal to 0 and solving. So we've got to solve 0 equals negative 2x squared minus 4x plus 6. I don't really like having a negative leading coefficient when we're solving. Makes things a little bit more complicated. So what I'm going to do is I am going to divide both sides actually by negative 2. Because if you notice, all of these are divisible by 2. And dividing both sides by negative 2 also gets rid of that negative sign. So let's do that. That leaves us with 0 equals x squared. Then we have plus 2x, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And then minus 3. And to solve this, we can factor. We can use unfoiling. We need two numbers that have a product of negative 3 and a sum of 2. Those numbers are positive 3 and negative 1. Then we can set each of these factors equal to 0. X plus 3 equals 0, or x minus 1 equals 0. And when we solve, we get negative 3 or positive 1. So our x-intercepts are going to be negative 3 right here and positive 1 right there. Now we have 4 points, which is pretty good. I would like a 5th point, and we can actually get this 5th point with symmetry. Now I want to draw in the axis of symmetry. Remember, the axis of symmetry is the vertical line that goes through the vertex. And we know that the parabola is going to be symmetric across that line, meaning whatever happens on the left side is going to be a mirror image of what happens on the right side. Now you can see if you look at the x-intercepts that they are mirror images of each other. Each one is 2 units away, either on the left or the right-hand side of that axis of symmetry. There's also the point up here that's the y-intercept, and I want you to recognize this point is 1 unit to the right of that axis of symmetry. Because this has to be symmetrical, that means we're also going to have a point 1 unit to the left, right there. We need there to be a point here because of symmetry. Whenever there's a point on one side, there's going to be another point exactly opposite that on the other side. So we've just used that symmetry. We didn't do any calculations. We used the symmetry to get one more point, and that is nice because it helps guide us as we draw our beautiful parabola like that. And this is the graph of y equals negative 2x squared minus 4x plus 6. Whenever we're doing a problem like this, we want to make sure that we figure out if it's opening upward or downward, and we can do that by looking at the leading coefficient. We want to figure out what the vertex is going to be, and that comes from the formula x equals the opposite of b over 2a. We want to figure out the y-intercept, and the y-intercept comes from the constant term. And then also we want to find the x-intercepts, and the x-intercepts come from letting y equal 0 and solving. So there's several steps to these, but when we do these, we get a parabola that is accurate in all the most important places. It's going to be beautifully symmetrical, and we don't have to do a table of values, which is particularly nice. Take a look at the example problems linked to below and get some practice doing this on your own.